All right, so some quick checklists on what we're going to be going over is just the tournament basics, some technical stuff, the competitor checklist, and then the checklist for the spectators. Some tournament basics. We're going to start with an orientation and warm up, so all the students can show up and we can let them know what's going on, as well as get their voices ready to compete. Warming up is super, super important. We'll do it with Coach Daniel. She's always been awesome at that. Then we'll have a round one at 4:30 p.m. Rounds are typically about an hour and a half. They aren't going to go the full time, but that's just the time that we've allotted. So they might finish a little early, which gives time for the students to go to the bathroom or get water if they need to in between rounds. Round two starts at 6 p.m. And then we'll have some interviews with Coach Daniel at 7:30 while we're wrapping up all of the tabulating for awards. Do we have any questions so far? Okay, cool. Feel free to, Nina, what's up?
What do we exactly like? What do we do during round one or round two? Are we supposed to prepare two speeches or like one speech?
I will talk about that in one of the next slides.
Okay.
Thank you. So during the rounds, we have two different speeches that are going on. So if you have a impromptu and a spar that you're doing, you're going to go to both rounds, but otherwise you're going to stay in just one. Depends on what your guardians signed up for you for. But in the round, you're going to either perform your impromptu. I think we have one memorized speech, but otherwise we're just prepping the debate or the impromptu. We're gonna have two rounds, as we said before. Those are preliminary rounds. We're not gonna have a finals round for this tournament, as it's just mostly for feedback. We might have to change the schedule a little bit. I don't foresee this happening because it's a smaller tournament. But Nina, did that answer your question, or do you have a more specific one?
Wait, so like we're supposed to memorize the speech, right?
Do you
Correct.
have what kind of speech do you have?
Uh, I said it for like persuasive.
Cool.
Persuasive.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're gonna try your best to be memorized. If not, then note cards are gonna be your best option.
Okay.
Just to be crystal clear, Nina, you don't have to. I mean, both rounds you will do the same speech. Two different judges. That's the whole point.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that way you can get feedback from multiple people.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Thank you for the clarification, Mr. White. Very helpful.
Mhm.
All right. After that, we're gonna be receiving some postings via email. The difference here is that on these, they'll be going to a 8x8 room, but for this tournament, we're going to be using a single Zoom room with breakout rooms. I'll go over that a little bit more in some future slides, but the main thing for these postings that you're going to be receiving via email is where to go, who the judge is, and who the other competitors are. Those are the three main things. In the online setting, you might also get a text. Mr. Wade, do you have a comment?
And I'll let you finish this slide and tell
Sure.
them.
So most likely, depending on what you've set up, you will be receiving it via email, and then you'll be going from there.
Okay, let me actually go back a little bit. So because of the small crowd we have, that's the reason we're choosing Zoom instead of using the 8x8, which was the default online tournament platform. Then really, when you look at this, if you're confused, you don't even have to read the email because email is the default. When the round starts, we'll push the posting, you'll receive the email. But if you're confused, stay in the Zoom room, will direct you which breakout room to go. So it's going to be super straightforward. And we actually ask you, once you log into Zoom, don't log off till we finish the awards. It's that simple. But you take breaks in between, obviously.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Next, we have the ballot. This is basically your feedback. So after the tournament is over and we've processed all the awards and we're able to push everything out, it might take like an hour or so to push these out. We might actually send them to the coaches first. I'm going to talk to Mr. Way about that. But we'll have all of our coaches make sure they're doing a compliment sandwich at a bare minimum, which means that you say something that the student did well, something that they can work on, and another thing that they did really well, just to make sure that we're not having just like a whole negative ballot, which shouldn't be happening. But all these students are going to get really, really good feedback back from our coaches. I know we've got Coach Daniel on the judging staff, and Coach Daniel always leaves a bunch of awesome feedback. I know the students always love that. Any questions here? Very cool.
Oh,
I can always
yeah.
come back. Go ahead.
Yeah. In other words, so I'm treating you guys as the novice, right? So I'm gonna just add a couple more comments, make sure you guys follow. So the ballots is really the judge, they will be doing the judging silently, and they will not give you verbal feedback once you done your performance. And so this is really their way to capture the feedback in the system. And once it's done, we'll push that out. You will receive that in the email. And you will getting both rounds essentially in one email. Okay. I recommend you really just read through. And if you have question, you can bring that to the class, let the coach to take a look if you have questions.
Well, I actually have a question, Mr. Way. Are we
Yeah.
allowing the students to time themselves for spar and impromptu, or is the judge going to be doing that?
I think for novice, unless they're super comfortable to time, otherwise it should be judge's duty.
Cool.
Yeah, we will give time signals.
All right, I'll make sure to let the judges know so they're well informed.
Yeah.
All right, friends, let's head over to the next slide. Just some more technical stuff. If this is like over your head, then don't worry about it as much. But this is some things that you can do to make sure that your connection will stay solid throughout the tournament. There is a really, really awesome website called speakeasy.net. They have a speed test. If you just type in Google speakeasy speed test, it'll be like the first thing that pops up. It basically just tests to see how consistent and powerful your internet is. We recommend a 50 megabyte download and 8 megabyte upload. It essentially just is like how good it is. If the numbers is really all that's important, it'll let you know. However, the wired connection is the best. So if you're able to have an Ethernet port into your router, that is the most solid connection. That is the least likely to get lost. But if you don't have access to that, totally fine. Just try to move closer to your router. If there's any students in here, go ahead and ask your guardians where those are, and they can let you know. If there's any issues with the router, reboot it, and minimize interference. So basically, like, don't stream Netflix in other rooms or other like things that require a lot of internet. I think Netflix and streaming is one of like the biggest impacts. And then after that would be like playing games online. So if you have like older siblings that are playing like Fortnite or anything, it doesn't take too much internet, but it takes a little bit. And there's only so much that your internet provider can assign you. If you are familiar enough with tech to know what going dual band means, then you can go ahead and do that. And then we also have a best practice document that if you want more info we can send you. Any questions here? Anything you want to add on, Mr. Way?
If you have the luxury to have a private super quiet room, that will always be the best. I know not everybody has if you have a lot of siblings running around, at least find a quiet space, right? Let them know you are going to do an online tournament, and make sure they don't really, interrupt your speech in the middle of your delivery. That will be the biggest thing.
I have competed in a closet previously to make sure that nobody was going to bother me. Whatever you can do to make sure that there's not going to be like pets running around the backyard or like kids knocking over your camera or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and let your guardians know to make sure to keep everything away from you. That's gonna be distracting.
Yeah. I would say the other thing is don't like shoot for perfection. Like the lighting, if the lighting is not that great, that's okay. You do your best, right? Because we're not going to judge how fancy your room is being set up. We just really judge how your delivery and also your performance essentially, right? The content is the biggest.
Yeah, and for those of you doing impromptu and spar, best practice would be to also have like a surface to write on, because you're going to be taking notes before the round starts. So for example, if I give you like an impromptu, you'll have to prep on a note card or a small piece of paper in order to write down your thoughts before you perform. So it'd be really helpful to have something to write on, having a desk nearby or even like a podium, or if you really, really need to, write on, not on the wall, but use the wall as a surface to put the paper on and then write. Please do not write on the walls in your home. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Unless it's erasable, right?
That'd be
Then
cool. You're having a chalk wall. I've
usable.
seen that. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Are we good to go?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to be using Zoom as stated before. So on Mac or Windows, go ahead and download Zoom. If you type in download Zoom on Google, it will pop up. It is the first thing. It's always sponsored. They spend a lot of money on that. For tablets and phones, whether you have Apple or Android devices, go to your Apple store or your Google store and type in Zoom. It appears the same thing as what shows up on your computer, as we're all using, whether you're on mobile or anything like that. It's the same image that shows up. It just says Zoom. If you already have it installed, double check that it's fully updated. It doesn't always do that. All of my apps should be fully updating by themselves, and I constantly have to go in and make sure my apps are updated because it's not perfect. This will just make sure you don't have like a whole lot of issues or like bugs. It's also really good just for security reasons. Any update, every time they do an update, it's always having a security update in addition to that. No questions?
Computer is preferred. Like desktop is preferred. Reason is we're talking about 4 hours-ish, and tablet phone probably will run out of battery in the middle, possibly. Plus, you have a smaller image, and Coach Robert will talk about how we give you the prompt, and having that on a bigger screen, it's going to help you out.
Yep, 100%. Speaking of which, it's the next slide. Just kidding. The competitor checklist. We just want to make sure that you are going to verify how you receive your postings. So when you sign up for the tournament, we send you a email that says, hey, please double check that this is the email that is correct. And if you don't get that, go ahead and let us know. But when the round starts, you will receive that posting. But also, we're going to send you, as Mr. Way said, into the breakout rooms that we've already set. Please leave the camera and microphone off unless you are competing. If the judge wants everybody to have their camera on, great, but it can be distracting for the person competing, especially if there's some like weird stuff going on in the background that is not planned. Try not to adjust the camera once you start your speech. That can throw you off as well. And then also, if you're double entered, make sure you go to both rounds and just decide which one you want to go to first. Whatever one you're more comfortable with is typically the one people start with. And then once you finish the round, you can go ahead and hang out, go to the bathroom, get some water, grab a snack, and just wait for the next round to start. Again, 4:30 and then 6 o'clock are the two rounds.
Coach Robert, can you explain double entered again?
Yeah, I can do that. So let's say at 4:30, we start our round one. And let's say you are a super awesome competitor and you have both an impromptu and a spar that you're going to be performing. So in round one, you are going to be doing both speeches in two different breakout rooms. Or not, okay, sorry, let me rephrase that. You're going to do impromptu in one breakout room, and then you're going to go to the other breakout room to perform your spar during the same round. That means that's what double-entered means. Essentially, you're just going to pick whatever one you're more comfortable with, go to that round, ask the judge hey, judge, I'm double entered. Do you mind if I go first so that I have time for both of my speeches? And they're going to say, of course, because all of our coaches are amazing and super nice. And they'll let you go first, and then you can head off to your next round, as long as you are not distracting to the other competitors. How is that, Mr. Way?
That's good. I think my recommendation, if you enter like spar and impromptu, which we do have a couple of students double entered, my recommendation is go to spar first. Go to spar first. The reason is it's a paired event. So if you go first, then you're done, right? And then you go to impromptu, it might be easier for you to catch your turn. And the wait time might be a little bit less.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to add, like, look at the first master. I can't see you, by the way, Coach Robert. That's why we're doing a podcast in some way. So it's verify how you receive your posting. So in this case, the posting is just an email to tell you where you should go, right? But because we're using Zoom, you don't even have to worry about that. So you can take a look at the posting. Probably will just say your speaker number 1 or 2, your speaker number order, and then it's not going to give you another link to say, hey, go to Zoom. So stay in Zoom. You can refer to the posting so you know which speaking order you have. That's it. That's what the posting will tell you.
Cool. And just in case you don't know how to get out of a breakout room, because it can be occasionally confusing, if you look on the bottom right of your Zoom currently, there should be a quit call button. When you're in a breakout room, it turns blue and says leave breakout room. And then when you click it, it gives you 2 options. Make sure you hit leave breakout room, and it'll bring you to the main room where the people in that room can bring you to the breakout room that you need to be in for your second half of the first round.
Yep. Actually, once we finish going through the slides, we'll go try the breakout room really quick, right? Just in case. I mean, I'm sure most of you have seen those if you have done the online Zoom online classes before. The second thing is, if you give me your email address, we can double check and verify your email during the call, so you don't have to worry about on Friday.
Cool. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
All right. Here we are, speaking of Zoom.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This was our quick meeting before the call. So students are going to enter their video room to compete. Judges are going to be in the video room to evaluate the students. We have a chat window here, which I'm going to put something in the chat real quick. Oops. That's not what I wanted. Test. And that's going to be where we put all of the prompts for both impromptu and spar. We're not doing exempt this time, but for future tournaments, it's good information. We have the tile view in the top right here where it says view on this image. Click that and then hit tile view, and you can see everybody all at once. We have a dial-in feature in case that you need to be using your phone for any reason. That is essentially just like, I can hear you and you can hear me, but just for mobile. It's super simple. Once you just join with your phone, it'll ask you. Any other comments?
Nope. Good.
Cool. All right. We have our spectator checklist. Spectators can observe any round as long as you are not distracting. So keep your microphone off. Occasionally, Zoom does not automatically mute you, so please just double check that you're muted when you walk into a room. That's designated by the little image being stricken with a red diagonal mark. The links in the rooms are available. You know, this is outdated information. We can send you in the main Zoom room to the breakout room so that you can spectate for you. Just let us know what you want to watch. And then when you leave and enter, It might unmute you automatically. So if you go anywhere in the Zoom, please just double check that you are both muted on microphone and video. Cool. On competition day, we're going to log into Zoom. It is not this link. We have a new Zoom. So Mr. Wei has set up this awesome bit.ly link for us, which is shorter than a regular Zoom link. I believe we're also going to send this out via email, but in case you want it, you can write it down now. It is case sensitive, so that T has got to be capitalized, people. Check to make sure that your camera microphone are working in the main room. The worst thing to ever happen is to start your speech, your microphone doesn't work. That's not fun. When the rounds start, we'll put you in the breakout room that you need to be in, and then plan to stay in Zoom for the whole duration of the tournament. Again, you can walk away from the computer after you're done competing for each round. Just for the ease of you not having to find the link again, just stay in the room. It's much more simple. And then try your best. That is one of our QD habits, is to do your best and to try your best, because we want to make sure we get the best feedback possible.
Coach Robert, what does the whole duration mean? What time to what time?
So we start at 4 o'clock and then awards start at 7:45. I'm not expecting to go any longer than like 20 minutes. So we should be out of here by just after 8 o'clock.
Pacific time.
Pacific time. Thank you.
Yep. Friday.
So it'll be nice and dark by the time we finish the tournament.
Yep.
Time changes. All right. Here's some more information. And then for those of you on WeChat, can take a picture of that or use your Google Lens. And do we have any more questions?
The WeChat, in case you don't use WeChat, don't worry. And we will contact you. If you have any questions, you can always let us know. Like once you join Zoom, you have the help. Coach Robert will be in the, well, by the way, speaking of Coach Robert's role, Coach Robert, you want to mention what role you will be playing for the
Sure.
tournament?
I'm going to be tournament director for this tournament. So feel
Yay.
free to ask any questions that you need. I'm setting up everything as we speak, not as we
Yes.
speak, but today and tomorrow and the next day. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Awesome.
Nina, did you have a question?
Yeah, so I was just asking, like, in my case, I'm doing persuasive, right?
Mhm.
So, like, do I have to, like, prepare a speech, right? Correct?
Yeah, so you should be working on a persuasive in your class.
Yeah, so can I, like, use that?
Yeah, that's what that's for.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
for sure. We don't want you to come up with a brand new speech a few days before the tournament.
That's a lot of work.
Okay.
I've done that. It's hard.
So anyway, like, just to, like, be very clear, are cards recommended?
If you're memorized, that's like most competitive, but if you are also on note cards, make sure you're practicing with note cards so the tournament is not the first time you're using them.
Yep.
It does take some practice to use note cards effectively. Any other questions from the chat?
Okay, Coach Robert, can you go back to the previous one? I think some parents or competitor join a little bit late. I think if you join late, this is the only slide you need to know. It's super, super simple for this online tournament. All you need to do is log into Zoom. Even if you don't know anything else, we will guide you on where to go. I actually going to create some breakout room and open the rooms, and you guys can see this will be how the tournament day looks like. We have 3 rooms for now, right? In case there are anybody drops or anything, we might collapse the SPAR 2 rooms, but so far we have individual events. So Nina, you will be in the individual events room. And everybody else, like for SPAR, if you're doing SPAR, you will be assigned in one of the 2 SPAR rooms. Okay, so when the round starts, again, one is at 4:30, round 1. Second is at 6 p.m. Pacific time. When the round starts, you should be going back to your desk, ready to perform, and we'll put you into the right room and get ready and take a deep breath. Boom. When it's time, you go. Okay. And let's see what else. Okay, I do want to mention about microphone. It's actually extremely important. If sometimes students, like in the online classroom, the microphone is not super clear. So it's going to, like I mentioned, we're not trying to judge the quality or equipment, but at the same time, you want to make sure the judge can hear you clearly. So before you start, the Zoom has a way for you to test the microphone, right? So if you click the bottom, like in the Zoom window, bottom left has that microphone icon. There's a arrow there, the little arrow, right? Then just say test speaker and microphone. You want to, that's fine. Okay, so when you want to make sure you can hear yourself clearly. Okay. Anybody has any question? I want to make sure before you guys leave, you know exactly what needs to be done on Friday. Again, you will receive, just log into Zoom. I'm going to post that link, by the way. Just save that, bookmark it. It takes to the Zoom right away. So you don't have to second guess. And come to the tournament maybe a few minutes before. That's good, Eric. Don't log on at 4 p.m. exactly. Well, in some way, it's when you are on time, you're kind of late. I'm making up rules, okay? I'm in the military, so when you're on time, you're actually late. So, I'm sorry. Actually, this is, I apologize. I'm gonna delete this. This is the old one. I'm sorry. This is, okay, so it's the QD tournament one. Okay, right here. bit.ly/QD tournament. Whoever grabbed the old URL, make sure you discard that. Use this new one, bit.ly QD tournament. And do you have to, let me quiz everybody. Do you have to join both rounds in the tournament? Give me some emoji, yes or no. Do you have to join? We have 2 rounds, right? The 4:31 and 6 p.m. Let me put my video too so you can see. Do you have to join both rounds? Give me some reaction, everybody. Yes or no? Both rounds? Or maybe. Oh, type in the chat. Do you have to join both rounds? Yes. Nina got it. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Both rounds, yes. Regardless what you're competing, you need to join both rounds. Okay. And let's see. Coach Robert, come up with some little quiz. What is posting? Anybody? Okay, so I think the posting, that word is it's a little bit confusing. Just think about in the traditional tournament setting, the posting is the stuff posting on the wall. So it really just tells you where you need to go. Okay, but in the online world, it's easy, right? It's really just send you an email, hey, tell you which speaker number you are, and you just start performing when it's your time. Okay. And
I have
when
a quick
you're
question when you're done. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. We can.
All right,
let's-
friends. If I'm double entered, how many times am I delivering a speech? Remember, we have 2 rounds that we have to go to both rounds. So if I'm double entered, how many speeches am I going to give on Friday?
Total, right? Oh, on
Total.
Friday.
Total.
Yes. Give a number.
4.
Oh,
Good job, Nina.
Nina, you got it. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Now, the first round starts at 4:30, right? But the warm-up starts at 4. Can you just show up at 4:30 to catch the first round? No. Yes. Okay. Be here early. Be here early. Actually, a couple minutes before. That will be make Mr. Wei so happy. Guys are on time. Anybody else have questions? I'm running out of, since this one is so easy, so not much complicated stuff. Just Zoom. Oh, all right. So if anybody has any technical question, like can't even log on Zoom, what would you be doing? How do you ask for help? Coach Robert, what do you think?
If you can't have any issues logging onto Zoom,
Yeah, if they have Zoom issues, what happens?
yeah, you can always contact us via email or WeChat, or
Yep.
if you have anybody's phone number. Miss Terry and myself should be available. I think Mr. Wei is doing something else.
I will try to pop in here and there, but you can drop an email. Let's see, if you're in the WeChat, like the parents in the WeChat group, can you bring that one more time? If you're in the WeChat group, just let us know. Mr. David should be watching the communication on WeChat, and he can let us know. And otherwise, maybe give us a call or email early on that Miss Terry should be in the office by 7. And afterwards, hopefully, that should be already round 2. Should not have any issues. Okay, let me actually, I know some of the parents might be English might not be their first language, so 让我用中文大概解释一下，就是礼拜五的话，礼拜五非常简单，这个网上的比赛的话，只要记住大家 log in Zoom 就可以了。Zoom 的那个连接就是我已经复制到这个聊天框里面 Bitly， 然后 QD Tournament。是礼拜五下午4点钟开始，4点到4点半是暖身，然后4点半到6点是第一轮，然后6点到7点半是第2轮。稍事休息之后7点45我们会有一个颁奖，OK， 所以基本上可能8点左右就结束了，好吗？所以我们在这个比赛的期间，就是会帮学生切换这个 breakout room，所以你自己不需要再 login 到其他的 Zoom 之类的，都是在同一个 Zoom 里面举行。OK， 如果有问题，当天有技术问题的话，Coach Robert, do you mind sharing the QR code one more time？ 可以进我们的微信群，然后 Mr. David 会在群里面可以帮助大家，好吗 ？OK。Yes, that's the one. If you're not on WeChat, don't worry about. We will be supporting you regardless as well. Okay.